supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you start a Batman movie, with Batman instilling fear to the criminals of Gotham. So, Matt Reeves' Batman. The Batman was initially mocked for casting the infamous Robert Pattinson, and if you somehow don't know who he is, he's basically that guy from Twilight, or if you're a Harry Potter fan, he's the guy who got zapped by the mouse dude. Now personally, I haven't really seen any of the movies he's in besides Tenet, but from what I've heard, he's actually a good actor, especially in character-driven stories. Now with that being said, how is Robert Pattinson's performance in this movie? Well, it's great. He definitely captures the anger and the inner darkness that Batman should have. Now, even though in my opinion he portrays a great Batman, his portrayal of Bruce Wayne in this movie is pretty much non-existent. We barely see him as Bruce Wayne in this movie, and when we do, it's not much. Like, the only times we properly see him is one at the Batcave in the beginning of the movie, and that's mostly just him acting like edgy and emo. Second, at the funeral scene, but the same as the first one, we see him but we don't really get much out of it. Like, what's his task in his company? Or what does he normally do as Bruce Wayne? Like, does he party a lot? Is he charismatic? Is he charming? Like, we don't really know. The only hints of dialogue that I can remember from the movie that hints what Bruce Wayne does is this.
Mr. Wayne, you know, you really could be doing more for this city. Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, basically he does nothing. Unlike previous adaptations of Batman where Bruce is like this witty, charismatic guy.
Well, a guy dresses up like a bat clearly has issues.
Clark Kent, Daily Planet.
My foundation has already issued a statement in support of books.
Well, pretty girl, bad habit. Don't quote me, all right?
Daily Planet. Wait, do I own this one? Or is that the other guy?
This Bruce seems just focused on being Batman. Now, before we get to the good stuff in this movie, I have one slight nitpick. I don't really like the bat suit. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the suit, but I don't really like the helmet. Like, the suit itself is great. I love how it deflects gunshots and all, but the helmet, more specifically the jaw area, just kind of throws me off. But hey, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think of the bat suit in the comment section below. Now, let's get to the good stuff in this movie. The first one would be the cinematography, and pretty much just how the movie looks overall. Like, seriously, this movie looks visually stunning. You cannot find a single dull scene in this movie, and that's probably because of two things. First is the color. The creative use of color here really complements the noir-esque atmosphere that they're going with. A good example of this is the funeral scene. Now, I'm not gonna pretend that I care for this fictional character's funeral, but I kinda do, because even though I shouldn't really care for the scene because it's just some random fictional guy's funeral that I barely know about, the movie forced my attention by making the scene look good, amongst other things, of course.
There's a bomb around his neck!
And I think this is one of the movie's strong suit because it consistently delivers on the quality of every shot of the movie. It makes you feel like it's a necessity to watch the movie till the end because it just looks so damn good. Now, the second reason why this movie looks good is the blur effect. Now, blur in movies are commonly used to add depth and focus to a scene. It helps you separate between the main subject and the background. So, what is so special about the blur in the Batman, you may ask? Well, usually in movies, the typical way of doing it is that you blur the background and leave the main subject unblurred. And this movie does that too. But they also add sort of like this radial blur around the scene, making it look like a little distorted, sort of like a blur vignette. Now that we're done blushing and gushing over the visuals, let's talk about the main character himself, Mr. Vengeance, aka the Batman. So, is it good? Honestly, yeah, it is pretty good. He definitely has a good balance between the combat and detective work. And like I said before, I really love how his batsuit is bulletproof and how he just deflects bullets whenever someone shot at him. And also, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think it's a clever way of materializing Batman's infamous plot armor. Like, seriously, this dude will face off against the whole DC universe and still come out on top. And the only somewhat logical explanation that the Royals can come up with on how Batman won is prep time. I mean, not that I could come up with any better reasons, but it's just funny to think about. But anyways, we're getting less sidetracked here. Let's go back to Pattinson's Batman for a bit. Now, I think what this Batman prevails in is showing Batman's doubt on whether or not he's actually making a difference.
I wish I could say I'm making a difference, but I don't know.
Or is he just making things worse? Because the Riddler, the main antagonist of this movie, exists because he was inspired by Batman.
You showed me all it takes is fear and a little focused violence. You inspired me.
And also, I really love how in the beginning of the movie, he's the symbol of fear for everyone. Like, not only are the criminals scared of him, but also those that he's trying to protect.
Please don't hurt me.
Even the police don't fully trust him, But as the movie progresses to the end, he finally learns that Gotham doesn't need a vengeful protector, it needs a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham, and a symbol of fear for all criminals. Now, there's one thing I wish the movie showed us, and that's how Gordon and Batman first met and became partners. I think that would be interesting to see, because by the time the movie starts, the whole police department, excluding Gordon of course, don't trust him. Like, I want to see why Gordon trusts Batman, cause like, can you imagine being an honest cop in Gotham, and one day you start hearing rumors about a giant, black, bulletproof bat vigilante, and then you also hear that the police commissioner is working together with him? Like I would think that's crazy, but still I'm fine with what we got in the movie. And also I love how we can still see the emotions that Batman has. You can see it in his eyes whether or not he's confused, angry, or even scared. You can tell what his thoughts are in that moment. So yeah, props to Robert Pattinson for his great performance. Now let's move on to the main antagonist of this movie, the Riddler. Now personally, I think it's a great choice for the Riddler to be this Batman's first enemy, because this Batman is new. It's only his second year of being the Batman, and so far he's only fought crime bosses, street thugs, basically just our average criminals. But with the Riddler, he not only challenges Batman's intellect, but also Batman's psyche, something that this Batman has never faced before. Now, the Riddler in this movie is very interesting to say the least, because he's essentially Bruce but without the morals and the money. You know what they always say? Villains are not born, they're created. Yeah, it is very true in Riddler's case. Essentially, if Bruce was in the Riddler's position, he'd probably turn out more or less the same as him. But while Bruce still had Alfred to be his guardian, his father 2.0, and someone who loves him, plus the money, Riddler had none of that. All he had was his mind. And we learn a bit of Riddler's past. We know that he was an orphan who grew up in a bad orphanage. I mean, any orphanage who wakes up their children by making rats eat their fingers is definitely considered bad. But then again, this is Gotham. The average people probably wakes up with their car stolen for the 49th time. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the Riddler and Batman are so similar and yet so different at the same time. They both are victims of Gotham's corruption. They both seek justice and vengeance for the people of Gotham. And the only difference that they have is with their ways of doing things. One through getting his hand dirty by killing off the corruption, and the other through a little focused violence. So which one does the people of Gotham need? Well, in this movie, we actually see that the Riddler has some followers, as we see it during his live stream.
Hey guys.
And also in the final battle, we saw that he actually had quite a few loyal henchmen that's willing to actually shoot the mayor and everyone else there. But the question still stands, which one does the people of Gotham need? Batman or Riddler? Well, even though Riddler had good intentions at first, but at the end of the movie, his anger had completely taken over him. Like his grand plan, for example, the new change plan, where he blows up the city's dam and flood the city, so that the people of Gotham would bunch up in this arena thing, so that his followers can shoot them up. Like, does that sound like justice? Don't think so. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say that the performance brought by Paul Dano as the Riddler was absolutely fantastic. He definitely fits to be this movie's Riddler, though in some scenes I do wonder what he's supposed to feel in that moment. Now, one last thing before we end the video, and that is the addition of recognizable landmarks in this movie, such as the Icebrook Lounge or the top of the construction building where Gordon and Batman usually meet. It just makes the city feels more connected and alive in a sense. So to sum it all up, the Batman movie is a great action, crime, and thrill movie. It definitely has great cinematography that makes you don't want to blink throughout the movie, and if you haven't watched it, then I highly recommend that you do. But what do you guys think of the movie? Is it good? Is it bad? Let me know in the comment section below. But that's about it for the video, and as always, thanks for watching, and see ya.